Hi, folks. Yep, this is a year news wire, but this is actually a credible information. I've seen this several different sources. Uh, Iran wants Israel basically to give up its nuclear weapons program for peace. Iran's foreign minister Mohammad Zarif has demanded Israel give up its nuclear weapons in order to make peace in the Middle East succeed. It came from RT.com. Israel has never admitted nor denied widespread assumption it has nuclear weapons, said Zarif. And basically, its nuclear weapons program is a threat to the region. The Iranian foreign minister said that the non-aligned movement regards Israel's nuclear program as a serious and continuous threat to the security of the neighboring other states, and condemned Israel for continuing to develop its stockpile of nuclear arsenals, according to Reuters. Israel's not signed up for the Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT), though it sent an observer this year, or rather this month, for a conference, and it was the first time in 20 years. So it's starting to get to a point where it wants to be involved in the area. So this is good. Zarif said that the non-aligned bloc are looking to create a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East as a matter of priority, which will be possible if Israel abandons its nuclear stockpile. Well, you and I and everybody else, ladies and gentlemen, know that that's never going to happen. Iran's been accused on numerous occasions of the West trying to develop a nuclear weapon, a charge that Tehran has repeatedly denied. The country says its nuclear program is purely peaceful purposes. Iran recently agreed to the framework deal concerning its nuclear interests with the P5+1 group in Switzerland. We saw this where all the presidents and all the people, including Putin, Obama, the Chinese guy, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, and big money and big presidents are doing stuff. So we saw that like about 2 months ago. However, Israel was highly critical on the move. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that they would not block Iran's path to the bomb. It would pave it. During the conference, Tehran demanded that countries who possess nuclear weapons should not seek to modernize their weapon stockpiles. We call upon our nuclear weapon states to immediately cease fire on their plans to further invest in modernizing and extending lifespan of their nuclear weapons-related facilities, Zarif said. The head of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, singled out the United States and Russia for criticisms for failing to advance their nuclear disarmament. He added this was a setback and the mark of a return to a Cold War mindset. He added that the nuclear-free world was historic imperative of our time. If you go down here to the bottom, it says, meanwhile, Russia is fully open to a serious dialogue on nuclear disarmament, but it must be without any double standards, said the Russian Foreign Prime Minister Department of Nuclear Non-Proliferation and Weapons Control in Mikhail Yelenov. And basically, Russia is firmly committed to nuclear disarmament, he said. Clear evidence of that is consistent with implementation of Russian-American new START treaty, or START treaty. I'm going to say a couple things here, folks. And basically, one of the things I really want to say is that there is a serious reason why you have nuclear weapons. You can have them for defense, you can have them for offense. But there are serious environmental, serious extrasolar threats to where nuclear weapons will be the alternative reasoning for incidents. And basically, one of the reasons for that is, say you have an airborne plague, right? You know the airborne plague goes up to, say, 2,000 feet. Well, you go up to about 2,000 feet or so in major populated areas, and you release small nuclear bombs, and you basically destroy the majority of the airborne threat. Now, I know that sounds impractical at this point, but think about it. It would work if you had a comet that was coming in, say it was, I don't know, 18 feet long by 125 feet wide, or vice versa. You had that comet coming in straight, and you had to shoot up missiles. Let's just say 4 missiles, 5 missiles per country, etc., to meet that comet. Well, you'd have your missile coming, or your comet coming in like this, and you'd have your missiles waiting up here. And what you would want to do is, there's a couple different ideas, of course. I'm not a nuclear scientist, but I would imagine you would want to change the course of that meteor. Now, the biggest thing would be to do what? Well, to break it up, make it smaller so that the impacts are less. Well, how about this? You have your comet coming like this, right? And you have your missiles coming up like this. Well, these are your missiles. Well, what I would do even is I would just detonate them ahead of the comet so that the blast radius would send the comet spiraling away from the designated target of the Earth's atmosphere. Now, granted, you could probably do that in a time charge and shit like that, and you have more deployed and this and that. And, you know, I don't believe that. Sorry. I don't believe that there's ever been a super comet to where that has had to happen, but I imagine one or two they've come close, or they've done, experiments with ones coming in that nobody's told us about. I guarantee it. So, this is the big thing, folks. Nuclear disarmament is a good thing, but it's also a very stupid thing. Uh, I believe every country around the world right now, every country has, I would say, anywhere from 5 to 20 nukes. Now, North Korea probably has about 100. Let's be honest, it has probably about 100. Israel, I would imagine, has anywhere from 250 to 1,000 ready to go at a moment's notice. Uh, Iran, I would put them in the foxhole number at about I want to say 25 to probably 50 nukes. I don't imagine that the United Nations would allow them to not have full authorization to use them for defensive measures. I imagine realistically it's probably under 20 that they have for, stockpile just in case shit happens. And they have, nuclear like bombs that they have sitting in missile silos just in case shit happens. Defensive, offensive, extrasolar, you name it. That is exactly what it is. And that's what I think, folks. Nuclear disarmament's one thing, but you got to be smart about it. And right now, I think getting rid of your nukes is like the government version of getting rid of all your guns for your civilians. It's a dumb fucking move in any direction.